Hola, estudiantes! Today we will be exploring different Spanish-speaking countries and their cultural identity. We will be making comparisons between Spanish-speaking cultures and American culture. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to create a 2-minute presentation in which you will present an example of these comparisons. In the Apply section of this online lesson module, you are going to use Flipgrid to create the presentation. And yes, this presentation will be all in Spanish. So I would like you to either choose one of the sources provided in the slides, or you may find your own source that discusses an aspect of cultural identity. This could be about entertainment, art, different traditions, holidays, food, anything like that, but it must be a Spanish-speaking culture. With the source that you choose, you will create a T-chart like the one that you used in the Google Jamboard activity, and you will base your presentation off of this T-chart. However, it is very important that this is not a written script that you read. This activity is meant to enhance your speaking skills, so it should not be rehearsed. It may feel a little bit different first, but it is not meant to be perfect. So, in order to help you create your presentation, I've created a guide that will help you organize it and get a better idea of what this is supposed to look like. So, first, I want you to start out the video with an introduction. So, I have a little template here, and then an example. So, I want you to say your name, and then talk about what you are going to be presenting. And then for discussing the first culture of choice, which in this case, in my example, I did España and the holiday Santa Semana. So you're going to provide a brief summary of the topic in this culture and focus on aspects that you know you can compare to your second culture of choice. So here is an example I have, and I just talked about how Santa Semana is very much focused on symbols in Catholic religion, and that is very serious, but also a very joyful celebration. And I pointed out that this celebration takes up an entire week. I talked about the processions, which this is all stuff that was mentioned in the video that was put previously in this online module. So you can go ahead and read those examples. I think that would be very helpful. And then whenever you bring up the second culture, which will be your own culture. So I did American culture with the holiday Easter. Now you'll compare culture 1 to your own culture, combat each tradition/practice mentioned previously with those practiced in your own cultures. Highlight differences and similarities between the two. So I put some examples, which I think you should definitely read. This one, en los Estados Unidos, Easter es solo un día. I made sure to point that out because previously I mentioned that in España, Santa Semana, it's an entire week and not just a day. And previously I talked about how they even close schools for this holiday. I also talked about... One of the points that I put was that hay menos enfoque en religión, es más materialista, because I previously talked about how much focus there is on religion in Santa Semana, and regalos son una gran parte de la celebración. Es una tradición que el conejita traiga regalos en huevos y canastas. Because that's a pretty big part of Easter in America, because previously I talked about processions in España and how that was a big part of it, so I thought it would be good to bring up the Easter Bunny and gifts. And then, en vez de procesiones americanos, it's supposed to say asisten ceremonias de iglesias, but that's a typo. So this point, en vez de means instead of. So I'm saying instead of processions, Americans attend church services, which that comes to my next point. That is very important. In this presentation, it's really important that you use transition words and phrases. So on the following slide, I created a small list of some of my favorites, and then I provided a link to a more detailed list. That is one of the points of this lesson module, is to be able to incorporate transitional phrases, and it makes your presentation flow a lot better, and you will learn to talk more like a native Spanish speaker. So make sure to sign into Flipgrid and go to the cultural comparison activity, and your presentation needs to be at least 2 minutes long. After posting your video, respond to 2 other classmates and post with a comment. Está todo. Adiós, gracias.